Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Michelle's Craft Corner. Today I'm going to share with you another light up card. Now, this one I think turned out really cool. It's with 3 little LED sticker lights instead of just the one. Isn't that so fun? So absolutely love this. This was made using one of the new stamp sets from the Occasions catalog, the Beautiful You stamp set. And this is the wood mount, which is what we're going to be using in this video. This lovely dancing lady who says, "Life may not be the party we had hoped for, but while we're here, we might as well dance." Such a great sentiment for a card. This is available from Stampin' Up. Wood mount is only 39 bucks. And the clear is 28, so really great value because you get so many stamps in this set. So also, when making this card, I used a couple other things as well. I mixed up and used several different sets. So for the background here, I used the hardwood stamp set, which has this wonderful wood grain texture. It's a giant stamp though. You can see how big my hand is. The one we're going to be using today is the clear mount, which I will advise if you get the clear mount to be sure to get the giant block with it, since it's not a standard smaller size. It's also available in wood as well. So that was just for that wood grain texture on the background. The other thing I used, which you could do some alternatives instead of this one, but this is the In the Meadow stamp set. And I used the grass and just kind of the shrubbery right here. This one is also going to be another clear one in this video, but it is also available in wood as well. And this is just a nice stamp set just in general. But there's a couple other stamp sets that have grass, so if you don't have this one, you could use some of the other ones with plants in the corner. The last thing I used to get these cute little bugs, I mean, aren't they just the perfect little fireflies? For that, I used the Jars of Love stamp set, and specifically the lightning bug, little bug right there. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, well, there's jars and there's lightning bugs. Why don't you do a card with, or a light up card with that? And that one is coming. I did think of that, but I wanted to feature these really fun dancing ladies while they're still current, because we don't know if they're going to be in the new Occasions catalog as well. The other thing I used with this jar set to cut out this tiny little lightning bug is the coordinating framelits, which are available separate, or you can bundle them together, buy them both, and save, which at that $52 price would qualify you for a free stamp set while we are still in celebration till the end of March. So just wanted to let you guys be aware of that. There's going to be a few other products throughout the video. There's a link to my store below, so feel free to check those out and make a purchase for your cards there. All right, so let's get started in making these fun dancing ladies. First thing we're going to need is our card base. Now this is going to be Sahara Sand card base, and then we're going to take 2 pieces of Whisper White. These are cut at, well, I had one with a measurement. It's cut at 5 by 3 1/4, kind of a good standard size, so they're both cut the same. You're also going to need a scrap of Whisper White for the sentiment, but we'll get to that in a minute. So first off, we're just going to go ahead and knock out the card base here and go ahead and stamp that wood grain texture so it'll be easier at the end. So for that, I'm going to use some good old chocolate chip. And this is our giant stamp. Isn't that so awesome? So we're going to take our chocolate chip and just ink it up. And because it's so big, you don't have to stress about the placement as much. Take it. Oh, and the other thing, it's easier to stamp if the card is flat. Flip. The other thing for these really bigger stamps, sometimes, because I've got small hands, sometimes I like to use my forearm to give it good pressure in the center. It doesn't matter as much on this one because we're mainly just going to get the corners showing, but just handy tip for the bigger ones. Peel it off, and look at that. Isn't that just so pretty? such a nice background stamp. So now we've got that done. We'll just put that aside for now and start working on our lady. So we're going to take one of the pieces of Whisper White and our archival basic black ink, which is, here it is, right here, and our fun dancing lady. You're also going to want a Post-it note or just a scrap sheet of paper. So we're going to take our archival ink, ink her up, and I try not to put her up too high or too low. I kind of eyeball it for the center because you want to have room for those fireflies around her. And then while you have your ink pad out, it's good to just go ahead and stamp that on that Post-it note. Now this is how we're going to do our mask for sponging around her later. So I'm going to take that stamp and cut it out with your paper snips. So for decorating Our Lady, there's several different things that you can do, personal preference. You could just take out handy marker and color her dress and color her in and be done. You could do that. But I have really been enjoying using the new watercolor pencils, which oh, they're right here. Okay. The new watercolor pencils and the aqua painter. And I've just had so much fun doing some really cool stuff with this and our new, one of the celebration items, this really pretty designer series paper. Which is a thing you can earn free for every $50 spent. So I'm going to go ahead for this example and use the watercolor pencils to color her in. But as I said, you know, you can do any number of other methods. Another thing you can do as well is some paper piecing by stamping the stamp on a piece of designer series paper and cutting that out and gluing it on top. So you could do that as well. So lots of fun options with this set. Alright, so for watercoloring, you don't have to color the whole thing in. The main thing is you want to hit the highlights, so kind of getting those spots where the lines are heaviest. So I just go the creases here, because the water is going to do the majority of the work for you. If you're worried it's going to be too light, you can always just kind of lightly color over. And then I really like, this is the razzleberry with that melon mambo, just to kind of give it a little hint of purple in there. So that's what I did for this one. So you can see, quick, simple. All right, so that's all I'm going to do. These up. I'm going to take my aqua painter, and this has just got water in it and a really fine, simple paintbrush. Now, since this is not the watercolor paper, when using the aqua painter, you really do need to be sure that it's quite dry. You don't want it super wet because it's going to make your paper really wet. So I just like to wipe it off on my hand as I'm working or on just the side of the paper just to make sure that it's not super saturated. Then you're just going to kind of take it and just blend it about. Not really a right or wrong way with that. Just kind of pull that color around. Until you like it. So as you can see, quick and easy. Nothing too hard about the watercoloring with the new watercolor pencils. Alright, and then for her skin tone, I had a hard trouble trying to get her skin tone just right with the watercolor pencils. So what I ended up doing instead is coloring her in with, oh, where's the color? Here it is, with crumb cake. Now, just depending on what kind of skin tone you want your lady to have, you could use a number of different colors. Such as for this one, it was more of the pinks. But I thought since it's nighttime and the moon's out, kind of a darker tone made a little more sense than the bright pink. But personal preference on that. So we're just going to color her in real quick with the crumb cake. She's got a nice tan going on. So quick and easy on that. We're going to take our mask that we just did and that you cut out. Now she's already been used once, that's why it's a little colored. And you're going to lay it right on top. Just line it up best you can. And that just protects what we just watercolored from getting ink on it. The other thing we're going to cut out a mask for is the moon. So for that, I'm going to use the 1 1/4 inch circle punch from Stampin' Up! And I just cut out a circle with it and another piece of Post-it note. We're going to stick that right here in this corner. Oh, go. Right. So now we've got our 2 masks. Now it's time to get sponging. So for this, I used Old Olive for the, we're going to use that for the grass. And then for the sky, we're going to use some Island Indigo with a little touch of the Night of Navy, just to kind of make it look a little bit darker. Now you'll notice for my sponges, they come from Stampin' Up! In a giant circle. I tend to wedge those out just to be easier to work with and mark each of the colors on there. This is the decorative label punch. So that way they kind of last a little longer if they have a specific color. All right, so let's start with our Old Olive. Just ink it up. And get it nice sponging across the bottom. Now, if you're particular about where you want your horizon line to be with the grass and the sky, you can mask it off to get a really nice crisp line, but I kind of liked just the loose, lightly sponged look of this one, so. Okay. Here we go. Some nice green going on. And I'll probably darken that up a little later with some more chocolate chip. But for now, we're just going to say that's good. I'm going to move on to the Island Indigo. Now, depending on whether you pull or dab, it kind of gives it a different look. I kind of like the little dabbed look for the sky here, but you can kind of play with it and see what you prefer. Okay, so that would be kind of a good day look with the Island Indigo and the Old Olive, but I just think it's just not quite dark enough for me. So we're going to switch over and add some of the Night of Navy just to make it a little darker. If you want to go really dark, you could just do just the Night of Navy, and that gives it a pretty dark sky, but kind of thought the mix gave it a little more color and texture. When doing sponging, it's really good to have something underneath your paper if you're going off that edge. Okay, that looks pretty good. So you can even kind of see if I lift her up, just how that protected that from getting inked. So the next thing we're going to do, now that we've got her, is we're going to go ahead and add the grass and the foliage on the bottom here. So I've got those ready to go on some blocks, so you can see in the clear blocks right there. We're just going to use the archival ink again and stamp our grasses just on the corner. Go. And then let's do this little lot of grass here. Maybe another one like right there. There we go. So just kind of nice and grassy. So now we've got our grass down. So I'm going to peel her off. I'm also going to take the moon. So doesn't that look really cool, just like that? I mean, you could just easily do just that design and add it to a card. Pretty simply. The other thing is I tend to not like to have the moon so stark white, so I'm going to hit it real quick. I think my sponge is still a little inky. Just in the center, just to kind of give it a little more definition and just to not make it look so sharp. Yeah, I think that looks better. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is take the white Uniball pen from Stampin' Up, and we're going to add some stars all over because it's a, you know, starry night. No right or wrong way with the stars. You're just going to add dots here, there, and yonder. Or if you don't want stars, you don't have to add them, of course. I don't know if you guys, if it's dark enough you can see all of these, but I'm just adding a few about here. Don't know that I went quite dark enough so you guys can see all of these, but that's okay. Alright, so once you get your stars like you like them, put that away. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and stamp our little fireflies with our little photopolymer stamp. So for this, you just need a little scrap. You don't need a lot for this tiny little guy. So we're just going to take our black archival, and I know I do mention with the photopolymer you really do need to use that rubber mat, but it's not as noticeable on something so small, so you can get away with not using the pierce mat on the really small pieces. But we're just going to stamp that out 3 times. If you want to do more, you definitely can, but we're just going to do the 3 for now. And then color that in. Now for coloring it in, I used the crushed curry ink and the basic gray. So we're just going to color this little, I guess, thorax or belly with the crushed curry. And for the wings, we're going to touch it up with the basic gray. So pretty quick and easy. Now after you have them colored, we're going to run it through the Big Shot using the magnetic plate, and that just cuts them out so perfectly. You can see where I had the other ones I cut out earlier on here, and it's just so quick and easy with that magnetic plate. You don't have to worry about things slipping and sliding on you. So then we have our little fireflies here. All right. Side. Okay, so the next thing is we need to decide where we want the fireflies so we can kind of work on our lighting component. So you can kind of play around with where you want them. I kind of like the 3 surrounding her. I think that, there we go, that looks pretty cool. But, you know, you can move it around a little bit. You will be limited by your hole punch as far as where you can put them, but I think right about there is not bad. So next thing I'm going to do, speaking of hole punch, is grab a standard hole punch. Now sadly this is not the Stampin' Up! One, this is just one that I happen to have forever. But we're going to decide where we want our fireflies and then punch a hole where you want each of them to be. So one there, do one here, and one kind of over here. You can see those 3 holes. Throw away the trash there. Okay. So once you've got those figured out, we're going to go ahead and glue our little fireflies down because they do tend to want to fly away and hide under things. So for adding the glue to the firefly, so this is obviously a scrap, you're just going to need a dot of glue at the head and on each side of the wing. And it would have been good if I grabbed some glue that was not empty. There we go. Try that again. Okay. So once you have that glue on him, you're going to take it and you want to line him up to where just his little thorax is kind of framed by the circle. Not going to completely cover the circle. You want the edge of it to kind of just give a halo to him, if that makes sense. Go ahead and add those. And just giving it that little halo just makes the light shine through just that much brighter. Because Stampin' Up! Paper is really a good quality thick cardstock, so it can be hard for the little lights to shine through super clear. So this will make it a little brighter. All right. Okay, so now you have your little dragonflies on. Now, what I probably should have done right before doing this, I got a little distracted, is you want to line up your white paper with the one you just decorated, and take a pencil. Where's my pencil? There it is. Okay. Now this is easier to do before adding the dragonflies, which is what I meant to do, but you're going to take your pencil and kind of circle those little circles that you hole punch. Now this, will help with lining up those lights. Okay, let me take that away. You can kind of see. So if you do this before doing those bugs, it'll be a little easier to see the circles. Here we go. Just like that. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and do our light up component. Now, if you saw my other video where we did the light up lighthouse card, then you're already kind of familiar with the products. But in case you aren't, I'm a huge fan of Chibitronics and their LED stickers. Now, this is a pack of those. Come for $30 on Amazon Prime for 30 LED stickers, and each of those is one tiny little light, and they are just awesome. So that we're going to be using these today. They come in colors as well. So for these, I used the little yellow lights, but fortunately, I was making so many of these. The one we're about to do is going to use the white. So you'll see the two, the color difference with the white versus the yellow light when we finish. But this one also has red and blue in that set as well. The other thing we're going to be using is just some little circle 3-volt batteries. Now these I also got from Amazon. They're CR1220s, 25 count, about $5.50 for a bunch. So not too bad. The brand doesn't really matter. You can do just about any, and you can also do the bigger ones, but I like the smaller ones because they're a little more lightweight on a card. And the last thing we're about to use is the Circuit Scribe. This is a conductive ink pen, and I absolutely love it for drawing those circuits. Oops, as I drop it, drawing those circuits instead of using the copper tape, which is another thing you can use for doing light up components. This is just a little easier, and especially for taking corners and stuff. So this is what we're all about to use. So next thing, so you have all of your products, I'm assuming, is we're going to go ahead and add those lights for the back. So the first thing we're going to do is take our paper snips, and we're going to trim a little section on the right side. Don't want to go all the way up, but we're going to take it and fold it. So we kind of have like a little flap. You can take your bone folder and just make that a sharper crease. So we've got a nice little flap right there. We're going to take one of our little batteries, pop one out here. Okay, it's in there very good. There we go. Okay. Our little batteries. And you can kind of eyeball and see where's a good place to put it. You don't want to put it too close to the edge, and you don't want to put it too close to that corner because it'll affect the fold for that flap. So kind of, if you can, just about in that center of that square. Now, if it's helpful for you, you could also take your pencil and trace that battery for where you want to line up, but it doesn't really matter. So next thing we're going to do is take our Circuit Scribe conductive ink pen, and we're going to do a big circle right where the battery is going to sit. Now you want your circle to be about the size of the battery, or a little bigger. You don't want it really too much smaller. So, nice big circle. And then while the ink is still wet, we're going to fold that flap over and give it a light press. And then do a coordinating circle on the same spot. And just doing that light press just means that it's going to be the top and the bottom of the battery. It's going to hit both of those conductive points. We'll refill. So same thing, just about the same size. All right, so the next thing is these little circles are to help us indicate where we're going to put our LED light stickers to make the Fireflies glow. So we're going to draw our lines, basically framing those circles. So this is what's called a parallel circuit. So the two lines from our dots are going to be running parallel. Oh, you'll see in a second as I draw it out. Also, when you're going over that the fold from that flap, do be sure to go kind of a little extra thick, just to help it there. Just help the circuit hop that crease. All right, so you can see we're just running parallel of our circles. It's also really good to do your lines pretty thick. There's not like an exact size, but I've noticed if you draw them thicker, you tend to have less problems with the conductivity. Okay. And at the end, we're going to leave the lines open. I'm not a master of the electrical components. I just know that this is what the book recommended and this is what works. So you leave that part open. The other thing I recommend too is before you put your stickers down is if you go and do kind of a little ball on either side of your circle, this just kind of gives you a better chance of that sticker touching the right conductive ink. A lot of times if you draw your lines too thin, it just won't sit on it right. So if you do those little balls, it'll really help. So I'm going to do this one here. Yet again though, you do want to make sure that your lines don't touch if you're drawing them. So thick but not touching. So these look pretty good. I don't think we're going to have any problems today. All right, so you can see how because of the ink you can take that nice curve, whereas with the tape that's a little trickier to do. Okay, all right, so now let's grab our little LED lights. Now yet again we're going to use the white ones, but I do recommend the yellow ones instead for this card. It just, in my mind, looks a little better. I just kind of ran out of the yellows. So the other thing is this is going to be the negative side of the battery. We'll be following that all around. So that means that that point of that sticker, that triangle-ish point, is going to be facing towards that negative side. So this is the positive. And if you look really closely on these stickers, it does have that label, the negative and the positive. So we're going to peel these off, being careful not to touch the sticky side. We're going to lay those right on top of our little spots that we drew. Give it a little press to be sure that it's on there good. Last one here. Alright, so now moment of truth. Let's put on the battery and test it out. Word side up. Oh, okay, so we have a problem. Obviously, we only got one light working. So the first thing I recommend when you're troubleshooting is you're going to go and press that down. Be sure that it's really connected all the way on there, because sometimes it just doesn't. for whatever reason. I'll try that first. Oh, and that was it. So it just needed a little press and it's good. Sometimes also if it's not connecting good, you might need to draw your lines a little thicker, is my other tip. All right, so now we've got our circuit all done. So we're going to go ahead and attach the battery so it's not going to go anywhere on us. Now for this, I recommend, oh, there they are. Stampin' Up! Has these awesome dimensional strips. They are so perfect. They're originally intended for shaker cards, but they work so great for this. So what we're going to do is cut out little sections of these. So you don't need very much, just little pieces, and we're going to frame around the battery. So kind of give it a little nest, a little cushion, just all around. The other thing, do be careful when laying these. I don't recommend that you cover your lines if you can help it. It will kind of affect the conductivity. So, okay, we got it in there. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to take off the top tape. It's a double-sided little adhesive. And then we're going to take our flap and just give it a gentle press for that adhesive to set. Then every time you do another test, here we go, working good. All right, next is we're going to add our picture on top. Now you do want to just test it, make sure that when you added those lights that you didn't misplace them or anything. So we're going to do another test to make sure they look good. Yeah, there we go. Very good. All right, we grab our card base and we're going to start putting this guy together. All right, so now because we have the dimensionals here on this side, we also want to do a few on the other side, just so the card sits level. Otherwise, it's going to kind of sit a little funny if it's not all the same height. So I'm going to do a little bit of one there. There. Not really a right or wrong on the placement of these, but you just want it to kind of cover everything. Peel this off. And then I also like to add a little bit of glue just on the back side of this so that it sits okay. Take this and stick it on top. Line it up best we can here. Oh, finger. Oh, very nice. Now, if when you put it down, it's kind of a little off center, like I've got a little white showing, you can definitely take your paper snips and just kind of trim that back if you need to. So there you go. Not seeing it now. All right, then we're going to add it to our card. Now I really liked the kind of off-centered slight tilt that I did, but if you prefer you can go straight on. But I thought it was just kind of fun that way. Then also because we have that section from where we folded it over, I'm going to do another little dimensional piece right there. Same reason as before, just to kind of keep everything the same level. And we're going to add some glue. Take that off. Stick it to the front of our card. Oh, looking pretty good. I mean, this would be just a nice card in and of itself, just like that. But we're going to go ahead and add our little sentiment on that as well. So for this, you just need a scrap of paper. Oh, there's the one that I marked. 3 1/4 by 5. Just a scrap of paper, and you can either stamp it in the Night of Navy or the Island Indigo with this one, just because we used a little bit of both for the background. So we're going to take our sentiment here and go ahead and ink that up. I always like to stamp in the corner if I'm using a scrap piece of paper, especially if the corners are nice and even, because then I only have to trim those other two sides. All right, I'll take my paper trimmer. Other way, here we go, okay. And trim that down. Okay, so it ended up being 2 by 2 1/4. Oh, nope, 2 by 1 3/4. But sometimes it's just easier to stamp and cut. All right, look at our guy. So you could do it like that, but I really liked kind of giving it that little bit of texture on the corners. So we're going to do that last. All right, we'll just use this. All right, so we got just a little sponge dauber there. Ink it up. Kind of give it a little kiss all the way around. Just kind of gives it that little bit of pop. So it's not just solid white on white. And then you can also do a little bit on your edge, which would have been easier to do before gluing down, but give it a little light dusting on the grass to make the grass a teeny bit darker. There you go. Oh, I like that better. And if you want, you could even add some to the wood background as well. If you want to kind of give it a bit of a weathered, more textured look, you can definitely do that. Oopsie. There you go. Just like that, quick and easy. And we're just going to add our sentiment and we'll be done. That over. And then for this, because we've got everything kind of popping off already, I'm just going to use some regular dimensionals because you guys know how much I love those. I'm going to just peel that off and stick it to the back. I recommend at least 2 because it's a little bigger. And because the card is tilted, kind of liked tilting the words a little bit, but I mean, up to you guys. But I didn't want to cover her foot, definitely. So we'll do it right about, should do it right there. Ta-da! So there you have it. A really cool light up Firefly card, the lady just dancing. And you can tell the difference. So this is with the white light, so it's a little brighter, versus the yellow, which is more of a true color. So that's why I do like the yellow better. It looks a little more realistic for Fireflies, but the white works too. So it's just kind of personal preference on those. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this light up card. There'll be more coming. I'll also tell my customers, those that place an order in February, I know there's only a few days left, those that do are going to get a free light up thank you card in the mail from me. That is just for February currently, so do get those orders in while you can. And yet again, celebration, so for every $50 you spend, you get a free celebration item of your choosing. So thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any new videos. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.